All right. Likutei Moharan, Teretes Vav. We are holding by Seif Gimel. Before, we hold a little bit before Seif Gimel. Actually, towards the 3/4 of the of Seif Bes, where the Rebbe says V'zeu. You have V'zeu?
I'll get it.
V'zeu. V'zeu v'sam derech ar'enu v'yesh Elokim. Anybody who puts derech, says David HaMelech in Tehillim, I will show him the salvation of Hashem. Chazal said, what is v'sam derech, puts derech? Mi shesam or choisav. Anybody who pays attention, who keeps a close eye on his conduct in this world, sees the issue of Hashem. And what is the sam or choisav? What it means that he puts his ways, that he weighs his ways, that he weighs the hefsed of a mitzvah, the loss of a mitzvah, keneged schara. In other words, what do I lose if I do this mitzvah? And what do I gain if I do it? Like this thing that I asked you now. You may get into some, no, I'm not going to, just like you may get into some kind of a imot, he wants this, he doesn't want that, and that's a hefsed. You gotta deal with a certain unpleasantness. You may not. But what is the schar? This is Samar Chosav. You make a cheshbon. What's connected what? What?
Yeah. Okay.
And this is in this pasuk. The Sam Derech is Samar Chosav. Somebody who's Sam Derech means that he's Samar Chosav, which means that he weighs the pros and cons of a mitzvah. It's like, it's going to cost me. I'm going to have to confront something. I'm not good at confronting things, whatever. Or it's going to cost me money. Or it's going to do this. It's going to do that. Fine. But the question is, what is this Nachman?
No.
But the question is, what is the schar? Haynu sheshoifet al chayso. In other words, he judges his ways. If did I behave properly? These are the judgments, these are the laws that you should put before them. It says about judgment, tasim, that you should put. It says before, somebody who puts his way. So you see, putting has to do with judging, with evaluating. So you see that tasim has to do with mishpat. So samar chosav, somebody who's putting his ways, means he's judging his ways. V'sam derech, somebody who puts away means he's judging the way. Somebody who's in the habit of judging the way. Once a person does that, the Kadosh Baruch Hu will show him the salvation of Hashem. Elokim, not that as Elokim. Elokim, that's Yira. Elokim is the Yira. That's the Gvuras. Moshe Kazur will say Elokim Yira. Fear Elokim, fear Hashem. So you see that Shem Elokim is Yira. Elokim is Midas Adin, and Midas Adin is the shorish of Midas Adin is in Gvura. It all comes from Gvura. It's you'll see further on that Elokim denotes the sphere of Bina. The sphere of Bina is the source of Gvura. to explain. Chochmah is called Abba. It gives Shefa. Bina is Ima. That's the system that enables to decipher the Chochmah and to understand it. Bina, like the Malcha, Bina is a mother. What is a mother? A mother is someone that has a capacity, first of all, to receive, which means to stop and receive and sustain the shefa that it gets from the father and develop it, and give forth something better than she got. That's the malchus, but the first thing that she needs to be able to do that role of getting the shefa from the male aspect and then do whatever she does with it is gvura, is to stop it, to block it. The Bina does that to the Chochmah. The Chochmah is so ethereal, so amorphic, so undefined. It's just a nakuda. It's just like in one, like what to do with electricity, without having to think this comes from this. It already. It's a the whole chokhmah in one nakuda. In the beginning, you had to know this detail, driving. Same thing with driving. You don't even think about driving. You just drive. It's already in sechel nikn. It's already in chokhmah. But milchatchila, the wisdom of driving had to be broken down to this is how you brake, this is how you this, and this is the road, and these are the signs, whatever. Now, the chokhmah, the bina, in order to make sense out of the chokhmah, needs to have the capacity to block some and to allow some. That's why from the bina come the gvuras. The bina is the root of the capacity to stop, to constrict. Oh, not so fast, fella. Well, yeah. That's why also the woman is a teres bala. The husband gets all excited. I'm going to be over the Shem. Forget it. Me and Rabbi Lubavitch Rebbe, like this we're going to be. And the wife says, "Take out the garbage." Now, if the husband is serious, so she joins him. If he's really like, in other words, her capacity is selo ezer kenegdoi. I'll help him how? By giving him somebody against him, somebody to confront him, somebody to negate him.
Resistance.
Exactly right. Resistance is the mother of creativity, of improvement. So the shorish of the gvuras, as we'll see later, is in the bina. And the very capacity to decipher the chokhmah this is mina dinim isarim. This is from the bina come out the dinim. This is the shorish. That's the root of all root. A car without a brake is undrivable. And without a gas pedal, it doesn't move. But if it doesn't have a brake, you can't drive it. This is Yira, it's Elokim Yira. Hainu, that means Yira, Oilo, Mea Klipo, Umea Umois, the mishpat. The Yira is elevated, is extricated, is freed, exits the klipa, the realm of the husks, of defilement, of tumah, from the goyim, through the judgment that the person judges himself. Before the threat, which means the dinim, the gvura, was intrinsic in different things in the world. This is the root that a person is afraid of anything. Misal, from the police, from the whatever, from ganavim, or from thieves, from robbers, different fears. If they're physical, if they're emotional, if they're real, if they're fake. That's the essential yira that was mislavish in that. Because if the yira wouldn't be cloaked in that particular thing, then there wouldn't be a koyach, there wouldn't be the possibility, that thing could not possibly have frightened the person. That's why when a person judges himself, he doesn't have to fear anything, because his judgment is not cloaked in that thing anymore, because he himself has already eradicated all the dinim by judging himself. Now, this is a very, very important nakuda. Judging yourself does not mean beating yourself up. It's a big difference. A person can find himself in situations in life in which he's doing nonsense and he can't get out of it. And the quote-unquote tzaddik inside him, what do you mean you can't get out of it? What do you mean? Yes, you can. You just don't want to. Well, I can't want to. No, you just don't want to. Yes, I do. Maybe I want to. Or I can't want to not want. Whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. The point is that I know there's an nekuda in me that doesn't want to do the hepech of the Ratzon of Hashem. And these things that I'm doing are hepech the Ratzon of Hashem. Nah, I'm not a real Shemayim, I'm not a Shemayim, I still go ahead and I do it, and I this, and I that, and I this, and I that. And what can I do with myself now? I'm going to come to Kodesh Baruch Hu, and I'm going to talk to him. I'm more scared that the policeman will catch me driving in an uninspected car than I am if Hashem, who sees what I'm doing, is actually watching what everything is right. Nachon. That's what the Torah says. Yishma b'zyoynai, you hear your shame. Yidam v'yishtoich. Quiet. What does it mean? You come to Kodesh Baruch Hu. And you say, my Yitzhak tells me, or Yitzhak Tov, Yitzhak, I don't know what it is, tells me that I don't really want to. And then he tells me that I don't really fear you. Then he tells me that I've been promising you 1,000 times already, I won't do it again, and I keep on doing it again. And everything. But this is where I am. I want to do your Ratzon. For whatever reason, I keep on repeating these nonsense. Maybe I'm afraid of being too good because I'm used to being the stupid one, the failure, the loser, and suddenly, there's a responsibility, leave me alone, keep me in the corner, I'll be the failure, I'll be the one, nobody wants that, fine. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's some fears that I don't know what the heck they are. I don't know. It doesn't matter. You come, you talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you say to him, as we said before, Rabbi said it before this went on Shabbos. Yes, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you daven for me. This rachamim of Zeir Anpin. Even when a person goes to a mishpah, goes to court, has a trial, the judge has a medicum of choice, whether to be, a hanging judge or a good kind-hearted, just, if he sees that you're sorry, whatever it is, just like, give you a slack, cut you a slack, and it's like, but there's a limit how much you can do, but then there is the rachamim of Arich Anpin, of the Kesser. That's a presidential pardon. You can be as guilty as all heck. The Caesar decides to give you a pardon, that's it doesn't matter. Clean as a whistle. Why? Because I want to have Rahman Sohan. Even if he doesn't deserve it. So the Rebbe says, but there's nobody in this generation that can reach the rachamim of the Caesar. There's an interesting sikha in Chayera that the Rebbe was sitting there, and he would write something on a piece of paper, then he would burn it with a candle before it. So he said, the Rebbe says, when you give a message to the emperor, you have to have exact, how to put it into words, which words to put it into, just like a... So the Rebbe was sending messages to the emperor. He says, but there's nobody in this generation who can do that. And Baruch Hashem, we have, many highly Gebreslovers in this generation, is Kenim Kedoshim, if it's a Luther Koenig, if it's Simcha Bar Lev, if it's a Yakimir Shechter, if it's whoever, if there's a Bela, Baruch Hashem, I know, the previous generation, you had the Blazer Shlomo Shik, you had Rabbi Yitzchak Bender, you had Rabbi Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. But to send to the emperor, so the Rebbe says, it's like, what is it like? It's a person that needs, let's say for instance, needs to make chasana for a child. So he needs $100,000. Here's a neighbor who's a well-to-do guy, who's a nice business, I don't know, gold insurance, I don't know, just like, he's capable of making a donation of $1,000, maybe $2,000. You can't give a donation of $100,000, it's not his. But then, there's another guy who can make a $100,000 donation. But how can you get to him? He doesn't pick up your phones. He has 1,000 secretaries between you and him. It's like, you're not going to get to him. But that guy, that smaller Oisher, the rich guy, he's around. He has access to this big guy, because it's usually the rich people have access to rich people. Yeah. They're not the same. But it's the very same way that you have access to your neighbor, who is much richer than you. But he's not big. He's just rich. You can already have access to him. Same way, he has access to the other guy, even though the other guy is much richer than he is. So what do you do? You go to your neighbor, who's the rich guy, and you say, listen, I know that you want to help me. But what you can do, what you can give me, is not going to help me out. So this is what I'd like you to do. Do me a favor. Instead of giving me money, use your access to the really big, Mr. Big. As Mad Magazine used to say, somebody's looking for Mr. Big in the yellow pages. Mr. Big, Amos. Amos Big. Yeah. You're looking for Mr. Big. So you ask your neighbor, intercede for me. He can help me completely. Same thing, you go to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is Kuchabrik, which is Zerabin, which you can have access to. You ask him to daven for you before the emperor, before the castle. How do you know HaKadosh Baruch Hu? V'sibachni beveit tefilosi. He says, how do you know? The Melech says, how do you find out the HaKadosh Baruch Hu davens? V'simachti beveit tefilosi, and I should rejoice them in the house of my prayer. So Chazal says, tefilosum, their prayer is not said. He doesn't say their prayer, he says, my prayer. This is a proof that HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself is prayer. He says, what is he davening? He says, Yi ratzon milfonai, maybe there will be before me, Yishalei Rachmanas on my children. So you come to HaKadosh Baruch Hu with this whole ball of wax, which you don't know where the beginning is, where the end is. And this is called, even though you still can't stop, but you talk. You bring it out in the open. This is called your Oisek B'tshuva. You're dealing with it, you're judging yourself. You don't just, wipe it under the carpet. You don't swipe it under the carpet. You're opening it, you don't have answers. You don't have answers. All you have is questions. Fine. You bring it, you're not oblivious to it. You don't say, okay, that's fine, that's part of life, and just forget about it. This is called judging yourself. Because that's what I want to say, judging. You know what judging yourself means? It means that you find what is wrong and you never ever repeat it. You repeated it, you're gone. That's not true. That's the Yetzer Hara. Judging means aware, talking about it, dealing with it, asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu if you can't. I can't. Is it I can't because I think I can't? Beseder. Is it I can't because whatever you say. But I can't do it. I don't want to say, help me want to. I'm afraid, so help me stop being afraid. As long as you keep on dealing with it, that's what they say, Chometz, the halacha is, as long as you're kneading the dough, it does not become chometz. As long as you keep on dealing with the issue, it does not become chometz. This is called samar choisel. This is called somebody who is judging his ways. Not somebody who is successful, but somebody who is doing it.